our lives are narrated by music. You know, when we hear a certain song, it takes us back to a certain time period in our lives. You know, that's what's great about Sirius. That they got the 70s on 70, they got the 80s, they got the 90s, they got the 50s, they got the 60s. You could listen to all this music, and when I'm driving, I'll just keep switching Sirius until I find the song I like, and I'll run with the genre or whatever it is. But it's so weird how Heaven and Hell brought me back by you opening me up to that. It brought me back to thinking about New Jersey, thinking about concerts again, thinking about my friends. Like I hadn't had those thoughts because comedy had consumed my life. And now I look at how comedy consumed my life so much. All right, I'm a fat fuck by nature, but not really. If you look at the pictures of me as a child, I was always a bony fuck. But comedy took me so deep that I even stopped caring about I took showers, but I stopped caring about my health. Like, that's how much I was into comedy. When you're doing comedy the way you're supposed to do it, you're not supposed to be healthy, if you really think about it. You're out all night, you're drinking, you know, some of us do drugs, some of us don't, you know.
You're eating shitty.
You're eating shitty in the bars, you know. It's just the first 10 years of comedy is like this fucking diving into the abyss, you know, for some of us.
Oh.
You got a guy like Rogan that always kept his health up. You know, Bill Burr had to stop drinking over the years. You know, we all learn while you're doing comedy what doesn't work because you learn more about yourself. You're you're opening up one of those fucking artichokes, you know. So you see what I was telling somebody the other day that there's no more fiends in comedy.
No.
When I got into comedy, people weren't showing up at gigs. People were getting high. People were doing blow. There's nobody doing coke in comedy no more. There's no drugs in comedy. There's no Sam Kinnisons anymore, nothing like that.
No, it's business, man. And you know, you can't be all fucked up on that patio at the store because there's going to be like 3 agents, a casting agent, a guy that's got a movie for you. And if if they come up and talk to you and you're all like, they'll be like, oh, whoa, okay, yeah, we'll give you a ring, you know.
And I know you're saying that to me, and I know I lost 1,000 jobs and 1,000 relationships because I would never get coked up at the store like before the show. But after I went on stage, it was every man for himself. It's an open fucking bar. Yeah, I don't have to. You know, you've seen it. You. I don't know if you lived it also. You saw what it was like up there, you know, that it's very easy to go up there and get messed up with drugs and drinking, you know. I got caught up with comedy so much that I didn't turn my back on music. It had felt like been there, done that. But it was music that brought me back. By listening to that music, that Dio stuff and all that, and let me tell you something, I wanted Heaven and Hell to fail so bad. You know, I mean, you know, I wanted Heaven and Hell I wanted to hate Heaven and Hell so much, but I ended up falling in love with the album at that age. Like, and now I look back at the courage that it took. I remember I had Ronnie James Dio's wife on, and I told her the truth. Wendy. I told her the truth. I go, everybody around me wanted that album to fail. You know, you were dissing Ozzy. But as a music enthusiast, that showed you how to be a real man in a way, how to go, wow, even though I wanted this to fail, this is a great fucking album, and I'm going to pay attention to it, you know?
It's interesting when you listen to them, it's Black Sabbath, it's Bill Ward on Heaven and Hell, and it's Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler. It's the same 3 guys, but when Dio was in the band, they seem to play more violent. Tony Iommi plays way, way more violent lead guitar. His tone is different, and their tempos are different and everything. It's just more of this punch in the face. Like when you open up with Neon Nights, you're like, whoa, this is violent music as far as the performance compared to say some of the classic Sabbath, which is kind of a little sleepy and drony, down, down, that kind of stuff.
Master Reality-ish.
Yeah,
if you compare like Master Reality-ish, which is a great album, to an album like Neon, Children of the Sea. Let's take that song, for example. That's a very classic Sabbath song. Like it's unclassically classic Sabbath. And there's a certain beauty to it. It's a great little ballad. I love Changes. I love I'm Going Through Changes. Great ballad. Ozzy did some great ballads with Black Sabbath, but I think Children of the Sea, Dio fucks it up. If you want to call it a ballad. To me, it's a ballad. To some people might be listening to this, they might go, Joe, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's not a ballad. It's a ballad to me.
It's a haunting ballad.
It's a haunting fucking ballad. When I put that album back on, it took me right back there this week. And it just let me know that it was you that brought music back into my life. And I wanted to thank you. Like, you really opened my eyes to. I remember having Bert on, like in 2015, and him and I did a podcast about Guns N' Roses. I had gotten so many emails from 20-year-olds that said they had never even heard of Guns N' Roses. It fucking infuriated me. Yeah. It infuriated me that that kids knew were, Welcome to the Jungle. They didn't get to see the videos for November Rain and all, which are fucking masterpiece videos.
Totally.
Not only were they a masterpiece record, Guns N' Roses learned to master the video. Sweet Child of Mine is a great fucking video. They really, it's weird to know that our friend Gene Kirkland was on that video shoot as a young photographer, Their videos, and it blew me away. Like that podcast with Bert, and the response I got, it wasn't like, thank you for being funny. No. Thank you for opening our eyes to this fucking, and all of a sudden, like 3 years later, I'm not saying because of me, I'm just saying, like 3 years later, they were the first band to break 1 billion views.
Crazy.
I think it's November Rain did break
1
billion views like 3 or 4 years later after our podcast. Again, I'm not saying this because we did the podcast, but it even made me go home and listen to Guns N' Roses. It made me go home, on Patreon. I just recently started playing the Pretenders. How the fuck do you peg me as a Pretenders fan?